This is where we start the process of taking back our children. They are our children, given to us by a choice made between two people in love and proof of a miracle. A child made from two people, a woman selfishly giving her body up for 9 months to grow and nurture human life and then to bear excruciating pains to bring that baby to our world. A father, the protector, is a strong individual whose job is to at all costs protect the children from evil and harm. The rules and purpose were established in the Bible. It was a miracle, and we are just letting these demons come to our sanctuaries, criticize our lives, insult our roles as parents, and take our kids, never faltering. Yes, we kick and yell, but at the end, the kids are still gone and life of emptiness begins. That sounds so un-American, but more so ungodly. He is pissed those kids are for our entrance to heaven and we are giving them away. Not anymore. It's time to square the devil in the face and take back what rightfully belongs to us, something that only our Maker can do, and won't if you show your faith. CPS is stealing children around the world for profits, and your government is with them. The system is rigged. You can be perfect in every way. We all were in our children's eyes. It won't matter. These are economically inside kidnappings. You need to understand that. True, there are times when intervention is necessary, but that is not who they target. So stop putting yourself down or someone you know who lost a child to CPS. Stand up or stand them up and fight. Fight like a bear would if the cub is trying to be harmed. Learn from the simplicity of animals, which we are far more advanced and way more backward. The children are the future, not a number on a budget report, not an estimated worth. They are our flesh and blood and made from a miracle. Now that you know what's going on, stand with us and fight so no other children will be used as slaves to the system that we are supposed to control. Shame on us. Time to make it right in your home in God's eyes.
Be prepared to hear what CPS is, and after listening, please be ready to act, for we need everyone for this one. This is a problem that affects every person in the world because the protection of our children and the sanctity of family is a universal human right. It is time to take a stand and demand that CPS be held accountable for their actions. Corruption has run rancid, and our children, the future of the human race, are being depleted by trafficking and family ancestry being erased. Not to mention the broken hearts and river of tears left behind in the wake of family annihilation. Why? For what? Money? Money for the soul of a child, and this is determined by a person inexperienced in more ways than one, yet our system allows them to play God. What have we become as a society, when the cries of children fill pockets with riches and breaks hearts of family and we the people do nothing? How do we turn backs on an issue as disgusting as this? No person should sleep comfortably knowing this is happening. Children crying for their families while CPS employees celebrate their cash bonuses, high-fiving in the halls of justice. Think this is a lie? Look at Social Security Act Title IV and Safe Families Act. They promote the caseworkers to quickly steal these children from loving families in record times. And what did these families do so wrong? Most of them nothing. Have you ever noticed the children that die have been called upon as many as 30 times? That's because there is no money in children who have already been spoiled by true abuse or born to true drug addicts. No one pays top dollar for that. The money is in the perfect blonde-haired, blue-eyed good family and upbringing. Yes, just add kid for whatever price they ask. No one is out of reach from these demons, and they must be held accountable for their crimes against innocent families. How are judges so freely letting children be erased from the heritage they are entitled to? They inflict on the family the same level of punishment given to a murderer or person society has to eliminate, as they are so wretched existence is no longer favorable. Termination of parental rights is the equivalent to the death penalty in more than one way. Think about that for just a moment. Do you know someone who has lost their children, and if so, is the death penalty a worthy and just punishment? That is on the adults. Why do the children then get punished as well? This system is itself cruel and unusual punishment. This is America. We don't treat living people in such heartless ways. For all this to happen, it's corruption from the ground to the White House. That is the truth. Together, we can raise awareness about the injustices done by CPS and fight for the rights of our children.
There are so many of us affected by CPS corruption, yet we isolate ourselves in shame. Not anymore. AbolishCPS.com has been created to show with force what has happened to us is wrong, and we are not remaining silent. We are the parent of those children you have wrongfully taken. We stand to abolish CPS.
Please stop the real abuse.abolishcps.com.
All right. Hey, it's me, Darren Guay, back at it, CPS Punisher. I don't know what happened to the audio there of that last the animals fighting video and stuff. That's I don't know if it played or not, but it definitely didn't on my end. So that being said, look, there's a really important part of that video when you were watching it that I don't think a lot of people really understand, and they're not getting about what's going on here. And that's what it says in the Bible. The Bible says, don't look to the book to learn and find your ways. Look to the animals. Look to the animals. Because you know why? Because animals, look at humans, we're this way, right? We are the only species that allows anything to come, submerge itself into our nest, our homes, our den, or whatever, and let them take our young out without a mark, without a flaw, without anything. I mean, you go take a mother bear from her den, you take a baby bear from the mother's den, the cub, man, good luck. I mean, how many people do we see in these hunting videos, time and time again, that are walking up on nests of these animals, even little fish, man. You go in the pond, you put your foot down in a bass bed or something, and man, next thing you know, you got huge bass. I mean, come on, people, we need to learn from the Bible. From the animals. I'm sorry. Take your words from the Bible about what's going on with all this. But like they said, look at the animals. Because, again, I can only reiterate so much. We are the only species that allows our young to be taken. Now, here's one that is really sad, but I'm going to go with that. Here's the other problem with what goes on here. In the wild, if you take a bird, for instance, if it fell out of its nest, or you take or something that gets scented by another mother, it's not welcome back into the house in most cases. I'm curious because this is not really ever talked about, right? We never talk about the effects that the period of time that the women have to deal with their child being gone. So whether it's in that anywhere from 0 minutes to 18 months of the TPR, 3 years, how does that actually affect mom? The child being gone, the child being raised by another, the child being absorbed into someone else's life while mom is sitting at home and mom is waiting to just spill her motherly energies and her heart onto her own young, and she can't. And then when she gets it back, well, she didn't get to be the mother that she needed to be for this. So I really feel bad for these mothers, and it tears my heart out that we're allowing such atrocities to happen in the United States of America, of the free and home of the brave. I will bet you my bottom dollar that no U.S. soldier has fought for the rights of Child Protective Services to steal our kids from us. I will bet you everything that I have, which isn't much because of this fight. I'll bet you everything that I have that no U.S. soldier took arms up in Afghanistan or Iraq to say, you know what, I cannot wait to fight for Child Protective Services to steal American children for Title IV funding. If there is U.S. soldiers out there that did do that, listen, you are an amazing person. So you had every right to do what you did because you did take arms from the country. But I'm going to go ahead and bet that there's going to be no soldier that says that they took up arms to defend the freedom of Child Protective Services kidnapping our kids. Prove me wrong, people. So I'm pretty sure I got my guest back here. Just one more thing. Check out abolishcps.com. We have, I thought that I had mastered this technology thing, and I really haven't at all. I'm not even close to being good at technology yet. I thought that I'd have someone work on that while we're doing this, because we have some really cool stuff over there. What I can do is that while we're doing this next segment, I can bring that up. But just one more share here before we get to our guest. When I was TPR'd, they brought up podcasts that I had done. Now, that podcast was based on everything that was going on with my daughter at that time, Nina, and my fight to get her away from Child Protective Services, and rightfully so. Like every parent would do in these situations, or I would hope, right? Like I hope that every parent was out trying to fight for their child. So I thought the best route for me to be was to go out and do a podcast, because I didn't think like everybody else. I did not think that anybody else knew of what was going on here. I did not even imagine that this much bullshit could be going on every day in our society. Like it just doesn't make any sense that we can just have people come in, take our kids, be rude in our own homes, stop, do all these things, steal our kids, snatch them up, and no one does a thing. No cops, no elected officials, no jury, no judge, no nothing. What do? How come it takes me months and months and months to get a child home, but yet they can come take my child in a moment in imminent danger? But where's the danger? Where's the services provided for an imminent danger? When you think an emergency constitutes the services, right? Like police, fire, ambulance, something like that. Like that's what I think of when I think of imminent danger. Where are those things? Well, they're non-existent. But since I did a podcast, all right, and they said that I recorded my daughter. Now, first of all, in Maine statutes, which statutes aren't for us, those are for the people in line in the government to keep in line, for us to keep in line the government. But in Maine statutes, it states that a parent at every visit, unless advised otherwise, can record their child. Okay? Now, I recorded my child only because it's something that we did together prior to her being put into custody. Right? So we continued doing these little stories together. Now, these stories, what they consisted of was Nina and I drawing pictures. And as we were drawing these pictures, we would tell stories about what was going on. This here was one of the reasons that I was TPR'd, because they said that I didn't have my daughter's best interest at this point in time, because one of the visits we got to, we were late because they didn't show up. They didn't get us in. They had a new guy at the place where we would go to see Nina. He didn't realize the COVID rules, which we had to call in 2 hours before, because it was a 100-mile trip for us to get to our place where Nina was. So we had to call in 2 hours before we went to do a COVID questionnaire, and then we would be on the move. But we had to have this done by 9 o'clock. And this one morning, we didn't know who we get a hold of. We got a hold of the caseworker. He got a hold of us finally at 10:30, but we didn't leave yet because we knew that we couldn't leave until we had done this. So it was all a big jumbled mess that they used against us in the TPR. But this was what he said, that I hurried up on Nina's best interest, and I couldn't wait to just get in there and slap the microphone in front of Nina so that she could, so that I could get this bullshit that they tried to paint across. Everybody, I want you all to listen to just a second of this, please. So once upon a time,
there was a butterfly named
what?
Nina.
A Nina named butterfly.
What? With a type
Do you have all the markers, bud?
of pretty little quick.
Let me get some too. Hey, let's do it on this one.
was.
So is Nina the little butterfly, the pretty little butterfly, right?
Yeah, what?
This is playing.
A lot. No, it's a lot of details.
Oh, okay.
But it was so pretty as a.
Smurf.
No,
Wait a minute, you don't know what a Smurf is.
So
Butterfly was as pretty as alligator.
No, it was pretty as a brand new butterfly.
So it was a brand new butterfly too. And those come from this right here. Look, check this out. So the pretty butterfly comes from this pretty little thing called a cocoon. And that, do you know what before that is, bud?
What?
The pretty little butterfly named Nina came from what is called a what?
What?
Caterpillar. So look, like this guy right here. Remember this dude that we see in all the cartoons? Oh, hey Nina, how you doing? I am the pretty little worm man. So I'm going to be one day. I'll be the pretty beautiful Nina, but for right now, I am just the little worm caterpillar man to come around. And one day, the worm man said, "What is going on with me today? I am not feeling the same." Because why, Nina?
This is his dingle.
There's a stinger?
Yeah.
Because the caterpillar had stingers. But the little caterpillar watched all the butterflies flying around all the time, and he always wanted to be a butterfly, right?
Yeah.
And what was the caterpillar's name? Ninette?
No, it was Nina. It was Nina that butterfly. It was so pretty
as a shiny golden palace?
No, as a brand new butterfly.
Oh, yes.
Was melt like the wings to make her pretty as golden nuggets.
So Nina, the pretty butterfly, was as pretty as
golden nuggets.
Golden nuggets?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to call... One day, Nina the butterfly was so pretty as golden nuggets, it woke up the crying baby.
It would have one little tiny butterfly baby now.
Oh, there's a baby butterfly. All right. So that is why one of the reasons that they said that they had TPR'd us, or TPR'd me, I'm sorry, because they said that my best interest was not with my daughter, and that I was there just trying to throw her on the air and try to get her to say stuff on the podcast. That's just one of the tricks that CPS does, but the proof's in the pudding. Ladies, I'm going to let you guys go ahead and do what you guys would like to do here, and let me step aside.
Sure.
Fowlers.
Karen, would you like to introduce us, or should we introduce ourselves?
No, I didn't know how you wanted to be introduced, so go ahead. The show is yours.
Of course, since I took the lead in speaking. My name is Dr. Tanya Fowler. I am a child and family advocate, and I am a grandparent who has had an infant granddaughter kidnapped from my arms during the course of a medical visit at her doctor's. And with me today is my sister, Nicole Colomb, who is also a child and family advocate and educator. And she's been here every step of the way through all of the court proceedings and everything else that we've tried in the entire world to bring our baby back. Thank you, and thank you for having us today. And greetings to your audience, to your listeners near and far.
Yes, hopefully they're flocking to us at the moment as we speak to get this message out. So let's just cut through the chase. No need. What the most important thing you guys have to say to somebody, to anybody about this whole mess? Like if you have that one message, the last breath coming out of you, what's the message that you guys would say has to get out about this corrupt organization?
Don't let anybody else handle your own family business.
Mm-hmm.
Really second thoughts of allowing other people into your, I guess, when families have things.
Well, I mean, essentially, it's the fight of your life. It's the fight of your life. That's the fight of every fight that you've ever had to have, and it sucks. You know, like I wish I have hindsight's 2020.
Well, first.
Oh no, Fowler.
Oops, I'm back.
Hi. Are we still connected?
Yep, we're good. You're back in there. You were stuck for a moment.
Hi.
It's that lovely
Karen?
Philly air. Yes, Fowler, you're there.
We're still connected?
You're still here. Rock and roll.
Yep.
It looks like you might be stuck, but you'll be all right. Just fight through it.
Trapped. Okay.
It's the beautiful Philadelphia.
I'm hearing
air.
you.
Am I coming back around? Well, there you go. You're moving. You're back around. All right. All right. So shoot, Fowler.
Still live.
Are you hearing us?
Yep, you're good. You're back here. You're alive, upright, taking nourishment. You're all good.
Testing.
You're in.
Touch a thumbs up in your window if you can.
Yes. And you got kicked out. They got kicked out. Son of a biscuit. Well, that's that good old Philadelphia air. They're good people, those Fowlers. I didn't know about her sister, Nicole. We were just trying to find her Instagram. She can talk about that when she comes back. But they are advocates for the courts for people that are involved in child protective services. And they're really hardcore. I mean, they come from their heart. If you've seen some of these advocates that are out there, some of them are definitely in it for their own. I don't even know what you would want to say it. In it for something of theirs, but then there's ones that do care 100% that are, just put on this earth to go back, and they will fight through the nail, heart and soul for your child, and that's what those two ladies are, 100%. Like they were saying. So if it was Fowler's, Dr. Fowler and I used to co-host a show together for Vincent Davis. She's since moved on, and now, as we all know too, I am still with Mr. Davis on his evening show. Okay, we got them back now. I'm gonna see if there's get a little bit more signal coming up. So I'll go back to what I was saying. So Dr. Fowler and I, we were on a Vincent Davis show together, and it was great. We had a good time. We worked really well together. We laughed, and actually, Fowler and I right now are in the middle of toying around with a movie about child protective services, not in the sense that you were looking at, but here they are again. Let's see if we can get them back here. And ladies, 1, 2, 3, go. Here we are, ladies. They're coming in. Come on, ladies, coming in hot. We got the ladies yet. Come on, lady. I can see them in the green room, and I'm switching them out here, seeing if we can get them to here, but it's not coming through. Some biscuit. Oh my gosh. Oh man, they're such great guests to have too. I don't know if any of you know either one of them, but great people. Their story, their grandbabies were stolen by disenfranchised, if you will, family member, had wanted nothing to do with them getting custody of their grandchildren. And I guess if it's Fowler's sister, that would make her the aunt, right? Great aunt, grand aunt. I don't know how that works, but Dr. Fowler's sister, we'll just say her as, or Nicole. So they have been through this fight, and they are still seeking the little baby girl, because somehow in this whole rat race, she didn't make it back for the reunification services. And it's really freaking sad. It's really, really sad. Statistics are proving more and more every day, and it's really disgusting. I come into a stat yesterday that said the amount of reunification services and completion and to get your child back success rate. So from the point that CPS gets your child, and then you get done doing with all this rigmarole crap they have you sent through, your chance of making it through that and getting your child home, 33%. 33%. That's one of their own numbers. We are talking about 1 in every 3 kid that goes into reunification services for their parents to come home. Only 1 out of those 3 come home. And it's disgusting. It's sad. People, we are not learning from the animals. And here comes Fowler again. Hoping that we can get her this time. She looks good in the picture. I can see her in the green room. Let's try to launch her back. Come on, Fowler.
And
There it is. And she's on.
come on, they can see us. No, you're there.
Hi.
Oh, what? Oh, you can't see yourself. You want to leave this?
Yeah, I was just sitting off on the side for a minute. I didn't know if it might help with the service or not. Maybe if I just took some of the less memory. But you know what? You guys go right ahead. I was just talking you up about your grandbabies and you guys being advocates. So I was letting everybody know a little bit and a little bit. But I don't know your whole story. So you guys, again, as I said, you have the floor.
Sure. Thank you so much. And thanks again for inviting us. Had a little connectivity problem there. Can you see us and hear us both now?
Yes. Yep.
We're
I'm
not-
going to disappear just in case it's drawing from you. So I'll be in the back. I can
Okay.
hear you guys, but just go right ahead and do what you.
Sure.
Okay.
I could say for my part that if I were to speak to any audience of anywhere, people anywhere who are not intimately familiar with what we're discussing when we're wanting to abolish CPS, because I think for the subordinate number of Americans, when they hear Child Protective Services, that they automatically envision an agency that actually does exactly that most of the time, protecting children. They imagine children that may be at risk, children that have been harmed, neglected, or abused, or children who have been victimized somehow through kidnapping or other things, and they imagine an agency consisting of service professionals who care about children, who are coming in to rescue children from the situations and help to conserve the family. And our statistics on our other show with you, Darren, have shown that 85% of the cases, however, when CPS gets involved with families, I won't say intervenes, 85% of those cases are unfounded, which means they're not needed, which means they are intrusive. And the damage and the destruction that they cause when they are intrusive is irreparable. It lasts for generations.
I don't know, Fowler. You're unstuck, Fowler. Come on, Fowler. Yeah, it is. It's so unfortunate that they. She's absolutely right. It's 85% of the cases that are unfounded. So that means that people get investigated sometimes. Sometimes they go right up to a substantial point, and their life has just been ruined by this crap from these people. Put through hell and back. So last year, I believe it was somewhere along the lines of 3 million children were looked at as far as investigated. Okay, 3 million. Did you know that in our country since 2003 that 9 million kids have been taken into custody of Child Protective Services? Now, I'm not saying this in any blatant way that's disrespectful or anything, but I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure that those children, that number, far supersedes those numbers that we talk about for the Holocaust. Just think about that. Think about what a great atrocity that was for the Holocaust to happen, and the amount of Jewish people that were displaced, their family forever. Genocide. Now think about how many American families torn apart and people taken back from their families, put into other places, into false pretenses, into false whatever, and then forced to be a family member of a place they don't belong. Here we go. Looks like we got Fowler back again here. I'm going to try to shoot her in and get her to continue on. You look so much better on Frozen, Dr. Fowler. So much better on Frozen. Every time you come back, you start looking better and better. I don't know if you keep adding makeup or what are you doing there, but like more and more and more. But here we go. I'm going to put the floor back onto you. And I'm going to just, actually, I'm going to put you on the big screen. I'm going to sit off to the side here, and then let's go ahead.
Thank you, Darren. I don't know where we left off, or if I remember where I left off speaking, but how much of my commentary did you hear? You
were actually, it was kind of crazy. It stopped at the, you were talking about the 85%. And you were saying how pretty you looked, but you stopped at the 85%. You're stuck with your hand up. And then that's where you were. So, I don't know.
Thanks.
Did you hear that stat? I'm sorry, but did you hear that? Were you able to hear what I was saying? So this stat I just got the other day from the Department of Human Services itself. Do you know what the reunification success rate is?
What?
33%.
What?
33%. If you are put into if you are put into reunification services, you have a 33% chance, or 33% make it out of the services.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God!
So that's one out of every three is not getting home, or 2 out of every 3. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
That's freaking terrible number.
Well, if we're saying that 85% of the abductions are unnecessary, unfounded, that means that 15% or so of the children who actually need to be saved are not, or 85% of the children who need to be saved are not. Right. And of that 85%, over half of them, or almost half of them, never come home, but they're unfounded.
Yeah. The families that don't belong where they're at, their kids don't ever come home. But the kid that's actually abused is that one that gets to come home.
Yeah.
Because we know that that's the way the system works too, is the abuser, the child always goes with the abuser always gets the child. The person that's inflicting the harm, all of that, they get that. They get their kids. They get it. And then on top of that, we know that the system's not going after the real children that they need to be going after, and we know the reason is because they're not going to get the money on the adoption circuit that they would get. They're not going after the drug addict babies because you know what, they're going to get them back in. Now there's the other part of the drug addicted babies that they go after, which is I don't care. On this show, I'm telling the truth. We got to talk about that they organ harvest, that they do all of these things. There's adrenochrome. There's a lot of things that happen with these children. It's not just adoption. We got to make that very clear. People need to understand that there is way more that goes on here than just this, forcing families for adoption. We had how many people? 3 million last year investigated, which 85% of that was unfounded, right? You said. So how come there was only 160,000 kids adopted last year? Where are the rest of the children?
Oh my God. I can tell you. You wanted to? I can tell you. I was speaking offline with an officer. No, I'm not fond of that. But we were with an officer, and he tells he told me that I shared this story that he thought he was gonna find military. Huh?
Are you?
Yeah, I wasn't trying to get that close. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you look nice. It looks good.
Okay. Well, where I was, what's interesting is that we're not discussing these cases of kids that are really out in the ocean in these what you call like shipping containers, and they go from port to port. So kids of
And those she's frozen up there. I think. I hope not. Come on, man. You know, we got all these first world problems. You would think that I could get these people to. This is such a. Maybe I could do something. Maybe I can. I wonder if I can get her to call in. I wonder if we can do that. Let me see here. Does this Restream have a call-in feature? Anybody know? Let me see here. Let me check into Restream here. You know what? I'm going to take a quick break here. I'm going to check into this Restream thing. So we'll be right back. Sorry for all of the problems here, guys. But let me, believe me, I'm going to give you some information that you all need. I'm trying to get this thing going. You know, we're still new here. So please bear with us. I promise you that, as we go, so will the show. And we will get this. Now, here's the presentation I do. This is what I did for my daughter when she first went missing. We'll always do this. We'll be right back.
I intend to embarrass this government entity to the very core.
Something needs to be done because it's not right that they can just go ahead and remove your kid. And I mean, our daughter hasn't even been away from us for more than a day or two, or an hour or two, let alone 2 weeks now. And this just isn't right. And the facts prove it.
I will make sure that my daughter has nothing but the best for the remainder of her life. This kid had the world by every aspect that you possibly could. She was given every chance to become whatever she wanted. We talked daily about her becoming an astronaut or a pilot or, something that was just an amazing feat for her. And she knew the sky wasn't just her limit, man. Space was. And my word is, the only thing she needs to be the best for the rest of her life is her mother and I. So let's do the right thing.
It gives them the right, some guardian of life that she's spoken with her maybe once, twice, 3 times that she's
A vendetta, an homage, I don't know what you want to call it, but she's got something under her that's driving her to remove this kid from our lives. She's inexperienced. Inexperienced is what you're going to toss this to? You're going to give an inexperienced person the keys to my world, my heart, our everything? Inexperienced is people that burn a pizza. Inexperience is bumping your car into something else, because you're an inexperienced driver. Introduced as a third wheel into a kinship family, which I'm thankful for, but that's not her own. She's not with her own mom and dad. She's not even allowed to have her own things. Kaylee Leedy doesn't allow her to have gifts from us. Kaylee Leedy doesn't allow her to even take home simple food things from us when she visits us. It is brutal. Absolutely brutal not having Nina here in my life right now. I would rather sit behind a jail cell door and wait until that moment that I can be with my family again, and that would at least be something. But to sit here and know that she's the one that's suffering, this punishment isn't in my behalf, this is on hers. Now, I made a mistake. What CPS has done and are doing to our family is tearing us apart. In the framework of the investigation, it states clearly, do not recommend further investigation of this family. So why was it taken to that level? And why was it that my daughter was in such imminent danger that it took 8 days for the department to come and pick up my child after being ruled imminent danger? Tell me this. If you lie, you cheat, you steal, I don't want you in my life. DHS is full of that. I don't want them in my life. Help me get them out of my life. Because these people are people that I don't want to be around. I don't want them to have my daughter, Nina, out of our home and put her in a place that they screened. Do you know how long they screened? They screened her. They screened the family for no more than 2 hours prior. It took me 32 minutes to pull up the history of this family and find out that they operated under voyeur cameras, had porn websites, had all kinds of things going on there, that their kids that they had living there had witnessed their father get murdered by their mother, their faces stabbed off, they burnt the house down that they were living in, and this is where they put my 3-year-old daughter that was in imminent danger. Think about the things that Nina has seen now that we shadowed her from and sheltered her so that she never had to go through these things. Tell me now who needs to get the sustantion. Tell me now who's committing the acts of neglect and abuse. Tell me now. Tell me now who's going to look at Nina in the face. Tell her that she can trust her dad and her mom, and it was their mistake. I can only count to 4. I can only count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nina fell on the floor. Where you fall? Just don't be alone. What do we got to do to that, buddy? Huh? Neeners. Beaners. Hey, Nina. Hey, look it. What we got to do? What we got to do to you, boo-boo? How are we going to fix it? You going to put the Band-Aid on? Okay. What else do we need to have? Some chocolate? Mommy get slushy? You don't think that will help? You want me to call Mama get slushy? What color? All right, so that's that. I don't know what happened to the Fowler ladies. They went off to the side a little bit, so we will go back to doing a little bit of. I got Melissa from yesterday. She wanted to come back and update us from some stuff that happened. But while we do that, I'm going to let you guys listen to a little bit more of this podcast to tell me where the bias and all the crap they said was happening was taking place. What was her name?
The EMT was already called a bleep.
A bleep?
You know, her name was.
I'm so proud of you doing your name
Her
like that.
name was
Is
Golden Space Level.
Golden what?
Golden Nuggets Love.
Golden Nuggets. So this is Nina the butterfly right here, right? The beautiful Nina the butterfly.
Yeah.
Check these out. Look at these markers. Do you see these?
Mm-hmm.
So this is it. So Nina the butterfly, who started out as Hank the caterpillar, okay? So Hank the caterpillar, okay? Hank the caterpillar turned into the cocoon, okay?
Wake him up.
Yeah.
By accident.
So one day, Hank went up in the tree, started chewing on a leaf, and unbeknownst to him, he got stuck to the tree, and it got wrapped up in all of this stuff. And after a little bit of time went by, here comes beautiful Nina the butterfly. Now, Hank the caterpillar wasn't Hank the caterpillar anymore. It was beautiful Nina the butterfly with the golden nuggets.
But now it's a nothing because now we know which one
Yeah.
it's this one. Which one is pointless?
What is his point?
Which is a twintin and a baby twintin a Nina nugget.
A Nina nugget. I like that. That's a good one. A
It
Nina nugget.
was so beautiful.
Because all the Nina nuggets are beautiful. Here we go. We'll make the golden Nina nuggets. Yeah.
No.
I know, buddy. I'm sorry. Nina knew Nina knew her story. The little butterfly. It's not so gory when they come from the cocoon and they look so pretty. Nina, what's your spinny? What do you think, Nina? What do you know?
No, I have twisty here.
Make-
Don't mess it up. I did it.
Make a rhyme, buddy. I gotta go. Finish it up. Make a
Mom, I
rhyme.
don't want to see it on the markers on the pillow.
Here you go, brother. I forgot to give you these. Remember these?
Mama, what do I do?
Mama bringing in your lunch too, but
Is there
Daddy got stuck in it. Buddy, I'm sorry.
a Nina nugget?
A Nina nugget. I like that. That's a good one. A Nina
It
nugget.
was so beautiful.
Because all the Nina nuggets are beautiful. Here we go. We'll make the golden Nina nuggets.
Right here,
Yeah.
they tell us I gotta leave.
No.
I know, buddy. I'm sorry.
And that's them saying that she didn't want anything to do with the visits, no nothing right there. You hear? That's them saying that.
Nina knew Nina knew her story.
That's
The
them
little
saying.
butterfly. It's not so gory when
I
they
read
come
that
from the
recording
cocoon.
today. It's right on it.
Pointed. Baby, twintin a Nina nugget.
A Nina nugget. I like that. That's a good one. A
It
Nina nugget.
was so beautiful.
Because all the Nina nuggets are beautiful. Here we go. We'll make the golden Nina nuggets. Yeah.
No.
I know, buddy. I'm sorry. Nina knew Nina knew.
Ah, there's Melissa. Sweet. She came through just in the nick of time. Hey, Melissa, how are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm all right. So what happened to you today? What kind of BS did they pull on you today?
Well, during the adjudication hearing to determine dependency, they DHR testified to the fact that I was fit, I was financially fit, that they wanted me to have a couple baby gates at my house, but nothing really major.
Right.
And they stated that I cooperated with everything. So really, DHR defended me. I had a psychiatrist come in that I did an evaluation through, and he testified in my behalf. And pretty much everyone defended me. They didn't say anything. They said that my 17-year-old, that even in DHR's care, is out of control. And the judge said that the guardian ad litem gets to make first recommendation, and then we have 7 days after that to file our counter or supportive, document to the guardian's recommendation, and then the judge will put out his order. Well, the guardian ad litem filed a recommendation on my case on the 9th, but neither defense attorney was given a copy of that recommendation. And I only found out about it today because Pam from the court, who's one of the court clerks, called me and said, "Hey, Melissa, you've got a printed document down here that you never picked up." And I said, "I do." I said, "I thought we have everything filed." She says, "No, you don't have the guardian ad litem's recommendation on you." I said, "I didn't think she filed one. Nothing came through the electronic system." So I go down there and I get it. I bring it home, scan it, email it over to both of the defense counsels so that they can read it. And even though it's late, make an answer to the whole thing. Well, not even 20 minutes after I got that to both counsels, the judge put out an order saying that DHR's defense of me was bullshit, that essentially I'm a piece of shit. And he awarded custody to DHR and told them that the first order of business is to find family placement or adoptive care. And if all of that fails, then he will order reunification.
What?
Wow. All out of nowhere, all out of today. Was that today, right? Does this happen today? Right, because this has been going on yesterday.
I picked up the paper at 10 o'clock this morning. By noon, we had the judge's order. And this is a judge who is known for not, when he writes an order, he'll say it in a single sentence. He'll say it in 3 sentences. He put out an order 10 pages long. He did not prepare that order.
Yeah, and then
honestly, I'd be surprised if he even read the order each time.
Ready today?
All
of a sudden at noontime today it was ready because today's the 17th, so you had 7 days to answer to the guardian ad litem, right?
Yep.
Which doesn't count weekends.
Right.
So that was like today was supposed to be your answer, right?
Well, we had till yesterday to file our answer. If we would have received the guardian ad litem's paperwork on the 9th like we was supposed to. But it's all done electronic file. And every time you file something, you get a immediate notice. Well, we got no notice, and it's not in the electronic queue. So none of my attorneys can see it. And it's only by the good graces that I have actually made friends with the lady at court that she printed it off and called me.
Right. So at least you have facts you can show now that they pulled this crap on you, which is crap. What did the guardian ad litem say? How many reports did your guardian ad litem do on you?
This is the first actual recommendation. Okay, so when my case started and they did the original shelter order, it was obviously chock full of lies and 101 directions. They ordered a psych eval of my daughter. First, they ordered it of me and my daughter, but then when they changed the plan to steal the children, they actually canceled that one and reordered one just in the name of my daughter. And they ordered it through a doctor that if anyone listening ever gets sent to Dr. Carney in the state of Alabama, do not go. File an immediate complaint. He is the hired gun for DHR. He's been doing it for 5 years. They send people from 300 miles away to go see him for a negative report because he always says DHR should have the children, remove them.
And
Um,
they hold that doctor note so dear to them. You know, that's their way to gold right there. That's it. You know
well,
what?
and my
Check this out.
daughter's psych eval actually says all of these things occurred in Michigan, but we want you to remove her and the rest of the children from her family here in Alabama.
Jesus Christ.
So go ahead.
So there's the jurisdictional issue there, correct? Like, so because you went from Alabama to Michigan, right? Like there's now the cross in betweens that you're dealing with.
Well, my daughter is her home state is Michigan. Okay, but the judge here made such a shit show of everything that here in the last few weeks, even though this case started 15 months ago, the judge made the Michigan judge relinquish jurisdiction and then invalidate my ex's custody of my daughter.
That's the other thing too. Tell me again about the beginning of your case, because I know that we were talking about it and you said you hadn't even been adjudicated for 14 months and so on and so forth. I know we were talking about that. Tell me again how the beginning of your case went. You went to the shelter hearing.
Okay, so the way it started, the prequel to all of this, what actually got us into contact with DHR is back in before October of 21. My daughter was in Michigan. She had an ongoing CPS case up there. She, by order of Michigan CPS, she was to return back down here and go into services. We tried to put my daughter in services, and she pretty much told us to, take a long walk off of a short pier, as most 16 and 17-year-olds do. So with that being said, we did what is called a CHINS petition, Child in Need of Services. In other words, we put her on probation, where if she screwed up, there'd be criminal repercussions that would allow the judge to put her into a boot camp, a juvie, or whatnot to try to get her to behave. From that, they opened up an investigation on our house to, quote, offer services. No, it was to dig for shit for ways to divide the family. That's what it really boiled down to. That started January of, that was January 26th of 22. Sarah entered into services on March of 22. And then May of 22, after they got Dr. Carney's report, they had us bring all the kids down for an ISP meeting. And when we got there was police everywhere. We walked in and we walked out without our children. We had a shelter hearing in June, which is in violation of the 72-hour rule. But it doesn't seem to matter.
No.
There's no family laws in the state that are meant to uphold the rights of the family. Actually, this is the one state that is just the opposite. They are meant to directly attack the family. So anyways, at the shelter hearing, they laid down all this crap. They gave the temporary order of shelter custody to DHR, pending services and reunification. And the only recommendation for removal that they could give the judge was, well, the doctor recommended it. They actually stated it 8 times. Stated they knew of no known risk of harm, but they're doing it just because the doctor recommended it. So they put my daughter into a high risk facility called Laurel Oaks. It's a psych ward for kids. And in there, she got literally beat to within inches of her life. She got beat so bad that it caused a post-aneurysm in her brain to rupture and her to bleed out her nose and ears for almost 10 days before they got her surgery.
Jesus.
And that's why she ran away from the system.
Well, many reasons, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, after she started getting beat up.
The cell phone, right? She was pissed about the cell phone. Was it the cell phone that started with your daughter getting mad about?
Well, she got mad because I put her on services and because I stopped guys from trying to, communicate with her.
Yep.
So with that being said, after I started showing up to visits with my daughter at the psych facility, and I was walking in and the side of her face was half kicked in and she's bruised and she's bleeding, they then, the guardian ad litem told the other child in care, who's 14, to run away, cross the state line to avoid prosecution. 1 hour after she verified that that girl crossed the state line, she took an order against me, stopping me from having any contact with my daughter. From there, I hadn't been able to contact my daughter. My daughter ends up running away from the system. She goes up to her dad, who has sole custody of her. She ends up getting married while she's up there.
Holy smokes.
Right. And even in the judge's order today, he says, as far as he's concerned, it is an invalid marriage meant to mislead the courts, and that I'm essentially just a horrible person.
Now, does that, if she's being married out there, does that in essence get CPS out of her life?
It's supposed to, but this judge says he don't care. He even wrote it in today's order that he don't care.
Where was it was not in Michigan. It wasn't in Alabama, right?
No, she was married in Michigan, in southern Michigan. And she, by all statutes of Michigan law, is emancipated by law in the state of Michigan. And every state is supposed to uphold another state's marriage. But this judge has done his due diligence to try to undermine it, to try to cancel out the father's custody in Michigan, to invalidate her marriage.
What is this guy's problem? What is he trying to prove here?
I don't know. And that's just it. The thing is he was DHR's attorney for 10 plus years. You would think that he'd truly understand what the organization stands for, but he really truly believed that my daughter was in college classes and doing great, and they never once put my daughter in school. They never did anything for my daughter. And even right now, with her missing, in the judge's order, he wrote that I am going out of my way to hide her from them and creating interference, when the fact of the matter is DHR has met with her several times and they refuse to take possession of her because there is no group homes left to put her in. She has been kicked out of all of them.
Wow. I just can't. So I don't understand. So she's old enough to get married. She's old enough to run away. She's old enough to get all this. How is CPS keeping their thumb on her? And what's going on? You have other children that are involved in all this too now, or is it just the oldest daughter?
No, it's her, my 4-year-old, and my 1-year-old.
I thought.
And my 1-year-old, when she was born, literally just after giving natural birth, not even an hour later, I was escorted by the local police department off of the hospital property, told that I wasn't even allowed to be on the property.
That's, Alabama's, that was in Alabama?
Yeah.
They seem like they're brutal. They just seem like they are absolutely heartless and brutal people. It disgusts me, the amount of people that we hear from Alabama that are involved in these cases. Where are your 4 and 1-year-old right now?
Well, I'm pretty sure that my 4-year-old's here in the local town that I'm in, because at the trial they spoke about him starting school, and I'm pretty sure that they said he's attending our local school. My 1-year-old is the next town over in Evergreen, but the woman was approved to adopt her before she was ever born.
Oh, wow.
So you can't tell me there ain't a hidden agenda from day one.
Well, they did the same thing. My wife and I never knew anything about Child Protective Services, nothing about them, but yet they showed up at the hospital for us and had to come to our house to check her crib. Like, what is this? Like, we never had not any inclination of anything. When our child's born, they just pop in and say, oh, well, we need to go to your house, make sure that it made no sense. So you can't tell me that they don't sit there and they're not,
Well, you know, in the state of Michigan, if you've ever had a substantiated case, even if they didn't remove your children, you ever had a substantiated case, even if in the end you win, if you go in the hospital and you have a child, they cross-reference your social security number, and the second you get done delivering that child, CPS will be standing there. They will have been alerted the day before.
How does that work if you were TPR'd but you were never substantiated?
Anytime you have a TPR, most states, not all states, have a standing rule that if there is a involuntary termination of a sibling, or half sibling or anything of the sort that you were involved in, that can be used as grounds to terminate your rights without even giving you a fair shake of, trial to handle it. Right, I've been doing a lot of research as to how they use that stuff against you. I've been studying a lot of case laws throughout the appellate courts here, even the California courts, even though they're a different district, which don't directly apply, because they've got some good things there that I look to see if that same shit carries here, and it don't.
Yeah. But how does that work? I mean, and I'm asking you, I'm not like trying to whatever. If you're not substantiated, how can you get TPR?
Okay, so, and we actually went through this question at the adjudication hearing because they closed out the investigation on my daughter, non-substantiated, meaning no harm in the house. But yet they just was awarded full custody of her today. So with that being said, the way the worker described it, described it to me is that when they establish whether it's substantiated or non-substantiated, just means that when they did their initial investigation, they didn't find any ongoing causes of harm, but it doesn't mean there wasn't a cause before.
Right. Well, I mean, in my instance, my spouse had nothing to do with any of it. She was never even under investigation. She never,
right?
She was never substantiated. She was never even involved. It was just me that was substantiated. They put me to the highest degree. Ridiculous. But they did nothing towards her, but yet she was still TPR'd. It made no sense. And the only reason that they gave that they TPR'd her is that she supported me. So she wasn't taking the baby out of jeopardy, which is...
Well, and that's why they're attacking me. See, if this was a criminal case, I would have entrapment to the highest level. I mean, I would have, so many civil suits against them. And there is actually, several suits that can be brought against them.
Which I hope you do.
Because of the fact that when we moved here from Florida, we moved here with express pre-permission from everyone. Because I don't want to violate any rules or laws. Right. And that pre-approval at the adjudication hearing, even though I spoke of it, the sheriff's department wasn't standing there this time saying, "Oh yeah, we approved them from day one." But at the previous hearings, they did that. The whole town stood there in support of us, saying, "We approved them. They're great. They're good. There's nothing wrong." Where now they just say, "Sorry, tough shit. Yep. You're a bad."
Yeah, and that sucks. That sucks big time. Bounce back. Bounce back. Come on, baby, bounce back. Or maybe I need to bounce back. I'm not sure which one of us it is. Oh, there you go. She's back. Whew. Sorry, Melissa. I don't know if it was you or if it was me, but either one. But you made it back. You backed in. So, that's the thing. Like, look, you go through all these hoops and whistles, whatever they are, hoops and all this crap to make sure that your kids are okay, everybody's safe, everything's done correctly, right, and all this, and they still screw with you. Like, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Well, and what the judge testified to is that I've lied to the court from day one, and I do it with the intent to mislead and undermine the authority of the court. But the thing is I've actually never lied to the court. If anything, I've been so brutally honest that it could harm me.
You should make an affidavit out, request the judge to explain himself to the question of you. If you know for 100% fact that you've never lied to that court, why don't you submit an affidavit of truth under the penalty of perjury and say, Your Honor, you told me in this court order or whatever, in your courtroom, however you did it, that I'm a liar. Please, sir, explain to me how I'm a liar, and I'll bet you $1 million he doesn't respond to that.
Oh, I'm sure he would respond to it, because during the hearing, he stopped mid-hearing at the end of my testimony, and he looked at my attorney and he says, Mr. Burdick, I'm not sure if you're aware, but in our dealings with Miss Hara, we find that she does nothing but lie to the court in the intent to mislead the court and undermine my direct authority.
You should. I'm telling you, you should do that. You should, because listen, the affidavit of truth is everything you need. That's the sword of God, as my buddy calls it, because that's the absolute truth. So if this judge is saying that you're a liar, you need to call him out and be like, okay, judge, tell me how I'm lying. Under the penalty of perjury, tell me where I'm lying, because you're ruling on my case and destroying my character and everything else by saying that I'm lying and I'm doing this. Tell me, explain to me, show me how I am lying to this court. He's not going to be able to, because if you're telling the truth, he's not going to be able to do it. And those documents are 100% valid in court. So now you can go to your appeals with something. Now you can go to anybody with something and be like, look, this guy said I was a freaking liar this whole time, and I have this affidavit right here that he couldn't even answer to. Now it's a sworn thing under the penalty of perjury. Give me back.
Well, at this point, because we didn't get to file a response, and it's funny, the recommendation on my husband, which was like 1 page, everyone got that one. The recommendation made on me the same day, no one got that one. So it's filed by the same person.
Yeah, it's
so
funny. The same thing.
So with that being said, at this point, our avenue is to file a motion asking him to set aside his judgment and rehear certain facts. And at that point, we have to take the adjudication to trial. But with the fact that they were ordered to make reasonable effort, it essentially buys me time to prepare through the appeal, because it'd take 90 days to get the transcripts. On the other hand, I get to continue to see.
Make sure you pay attention to the time stamps and everything, the time constraints for appeals. I don't know if you have an attorney for your appeal.
Well, I don't know that he'll do the appeal, because honestly, I don't know that I can afford him. Yeah. Because unfortunately, my attorney's quite pricey. Yeah. Just in the couple months he's been on there, let's just say I need to actually remortgage my house.
Right. Yeah.
But with that being said, we have 14 days to file the intent to appeal. Yep. And with the way that he's going to file essentially the motion to ask him to set aside his ruling and hear the evidence that we did not get to put forth because we did not receive their recommendation in order to respond to, if he then denies it or fails to hear it, or denies it by, action, by action of law, which is 14 to 21 days. At that point, we'll file the intent to appeal. They have 90 days to get us the transcripts, and we go forward from there. And what my attorney says is he feels that there is enough evidence for me contained within all hearings, because at the previous hearings, DHR actually stated that everything we was doing was 100% allowed. But again, like I said, the vicious circle of they're all everyone's best friend over there.
Yeah, and then it comes down to court day, and you forgot about those friends if they were. They're not yours.
Right.
I said in my TikTok videos today, man, they're not your friends. They'll try to sell you the bridge in Arizona or whatever the hell it is, Arizona oceanfront property, whatever the hell that is. But they're not your friends, and they're not going to be, and they're going to stab you as soon as they can. As soon as it's time to put you up, this is still their job. It's still their things to do. They're going to hammer you. So keep.
Well, and here's the double-edged sword to the whole thing. my daughter, who is here, she's 17, she's pregnant, she's expecting her first child October. They have her as a runaway, but they don't want her. The guardian ad litem filed for Sarah to get to speak her piece to the judge. She has a court hearing date on the 30th. And I've been put in direct order to make sure that she appears in court. Otherwise, it's me on the line.
Right.
On the other hand,
now how can they make you responsible for that? But then they're going to terminate your rights. Like, wait a minute, if you don't get her to court, then it's your ass on the line. But we're going to take your rights away. It's stupid.
Well, it's a very double-edged sword. And I talked to the other defense counsel in the case, who's actually also my daughter's attorney. And me and him had about a 2-hour conversation over this. And I said, Richard, is this actually going to end up being a setup? And what he says, yeah, probably. He says, on the other hand, he says, Melissa, he says, if you don't have her there, you'll probably never get to visit with your children again. And what he said is, he says, Sarah is responsible for making this mess. Sarah is responsible for attacking you over and over and over, which creates the issue that caused the whole problem. And he says at some point, she has to learn to accept responsibility for what she's done. And if they put her into care, she deserves it. And no one deserves to sit in a group home to where they get the side of their head kicked in. But I would agree that she is at fault.
It's a hard situation to be in. You're her mom, regardless. And granted, all this stuff has come because of her and her actions. Because I'm pretty sure you guys were out of radar if she hadn't pulled her. You hadn't gone and seek services, right? Like, you guys weren't under any sort of investigation prior to that.
No, we were 100% approved, living happy. We were boating on the weekends. DHR knew that we were here. No one had any concerns. They openly spoke it time after time.
Right.
And everything was wonderful. And then, this is what comes of it. And the sad thing is, I remember, because, I spent a lot of years in the past fighting against them in Michigan. And I remember thinking, well, this was probably around the time my daughter went on to probation, when everything was still good and the counseling was doing my daughter well, and she was starting to show improvement, and things were getting very quiet and calm. And, we were happy. We were a family.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing things as a family on the weekend. We were, going out to dinner just because we felt like it. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm actually almost happy. This is too good to be true. This ain't gonna last.
Right. It sucks. It sucks that they do that. It sucks that they can take away that. Like, my wife and I haven't had a holiday. We haven't celebrated a birthday. We haven't done Christmas. We haven't done. Sorry about that. That was the guest from earlier. Let me get rid of that here. We haven't done anything that has even remotely symbolized having a good time again. Like, they've taken that away from us, and it sucks. And it's so much. I was saying earlier in this show too, like, what about this? The whole thing is, I'm way over my time. I'm going to give you a call here in a little while. I want to talk to you a little bit more. I got to run off of this show, but I don't know, maybe I like talking to you. So let me give you a call in an hour. Are you good with that?
Yeah. You got my contact.
Yeah.
Call me anytime. I'm up as early as 5 a.m. and I'm up as late as 5 a.m.
I'm kind of thinking maybe come and pop in and join me in these shows, a couple times a week or whatever. But
because there is a lot about the procedural law with DHR that I have studied, and Candace had a lot of good points with the fact that our Congress in the 104th session literally put together a doctrine of what the God-given rights of a parent are. But the problem was they was never issued into law in a way that they are usable.
Right.
They are still just considered loose law for the loose interpretation of the attorney in the state that they're being used in.
Correct. Right.
And so there's a lot of things that Candace has found that I greatly support and that I would like to find a way to figure out how to use them.
Yep.
But in the meantime, while we're dealing with the incorporated states and with the legislation laws, I have done my due diligence to follow through with what the process is.
Well, that's
not
what
just
sucks,
in this state, but
that's what sucks,
Yeah.
is because we have to do what we have to do right now. Like, we know that it's not right. You know, I talk to Mr. Davis about it all the time on his show. And like he says, the courts just they're not allowing it. They just slam you down, you know, and it's because of just prolonged time of letting them get away with what they've gotten away with. That's it. You know,
well, in the state of Alabama, which I'm sure most parents are not aware of, they just passed a new House bill to try to give fundamental rights to the parents called HB 6. It takes effect the 1st of next month.
Yeah, that passed. Right?
Yes, it did pass, but it's only one page, and it's mostly aimed at our ability to teach our children the way we want,
right,
as far as it goes with their schools, and it covers the medical.
But there was so much more involved in it when it first came in and rolled around. There was way more than just there's just so much crap that goes on.
But at the same time, they passed the other House bill that now made DHR workers able to diagnose families with mental illness.
Oh, really? They can do that now, huh? They're magical?
Yep, they can do that.
Wow.
So, but if you want, give me a call in an hour. I'll be here.
I definitely will.
And anytime you want me to join in, pop me a link. I'll be happy to join in. Heck, I'll even answer questions for people. And if I don't know it, I've got enough friends in my back pocket that are attorneys throughout a bunch of states.
No,
I will always, if I don't have the answer, I'll find the answer.
Sweet. I love it. All right, Melissa, I'll call you in an hour. And then for everybody else, thank you all for joining us again. It was another good one. We'll get this thing down and better. But for now, we're going to call it a day. So thank you very much. And we'll see y'all tomorrow.